Unit 5, the arc of the psilocybin experience. Hi, I'm Amy. I'm one of the advisors with Silo Health. I'll be giving you information about what to expect during the actual psilocybin experience, from ingestion to time of onset, then traveling through the journeying process, and our peers' return from their journey. I'll also be giving you valuable information about how to navigate each stage with your peer. Number 1, onset of action. We tend to first notice the overt effects of mushrooms 15 to 45 minutes after ingestion, depending on the type of ingestion method and whether or not our peer is in a fasted state. At this point, our only job as a peer supporter is to make sure our peer is comfortable and feels a sense of safety and security. It may be beneficial to reiterate that whether they feel like laughing or crying, we will welcome all emotions and allow space for them to be expressed. It may also be helpful to do a few rounds of deep, calming breaths. The box breathing technique is an easy go-to. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale over 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. So the 4-4-4-4 pattern makes a square or box. One of the first indicators that our peer is beginning to metabolize the psilocybin is a sensation of body load. You may notice their breathing becomes more voluminous and their muscles will relax. It may appear they've become very heavy, and they may exhibit labored movement. You may physically see their head droop or their shoulders tilt forward. Their gaze may become less focused and their eyelids may slightly close. It should be noted that some people will experience this level of deep relaxation as unpleasant or may feel a loss of control. Be supportive and reassuring. This is part of the experience, and this feeling is very common and perfectly safe. The cause of body load during a psychedelic experience is most likely because the psilocybin, or rather the psilocin, acts as a partial agonist to serotonin receptors in the gut. We can refer back to Unit 3 with Manesh for specifics on that topic. Depending on the boundaries established prior to the experience, holding their hand, patting their back, giving a gentle hug, or just sitting next to our peer will provide comfort should they need support during the onset. 2, the come up, aka through the looking glass. I use this phrase to describe the portion of the journey as an homage to Lewis Carroll's book, as this term has come to mean the opposite of what is normal or expected, which is very apropos. At around the hour mark, the psilocybin will have been metabolized and our peers will begin their journey. Some may become more talkative, laughing and smiling, while others will begin to feel more introspective. The first changes in visual perception begin. Colors begin to become more intense, and sounds will be more dynamic. A breathing effect is common, where our peer may physically see their external environment pulsing rhythmically, as though it were breathing. Increased tactile or somatic sensations may have our peer noticing temperature changes, textures, pressure, or feel of the objects in their environment. It's at this point that emotions may become more dynamic as well. Our peer may exhibit rapidly changing facial expressions or various vocal tones and expressions. It's at this point the neurons in the brain are beginning to fire in new paths rather than their standard route. And our peer may exhibit incongruous or non-consecutive thoughts and behaviors. This is a sign of new neural pathways being explored, and it's a common element during this part of the journey. Number 3, the peak plateau, or into the multiverse. Usually around the second or third hours of their journey, our peer will enter into their peak experience phase. This is the point of maximized psilocin and 5-HT2A receptor connectivity in the brain. Any previously felt emotions, somatic sensations, or any changes in visual and/or auditory perceptions will be intensified during this stage. Traditional reality will become amorphous as our peers experience shifts from their perception of time and physical space. Words and language will no longer carry the same meaning. Synesthesia is common. Clients may taste colors or hear numbers. Clothing or blankets may take on human emotions. During the peak, be prepared and accepting of all possible outcomes or occurrences. Unlike other psychedelics, mushrooms facilitate a greater sense of introversion and connectivity with nature and the universe. Thus, during the peak, it's common for peers to go inward and feel moments of profound personal or spiritual insights. If peers are laying down, you may witness them going into the fetal position or burrowing under blankets. With higher doses of psilocybin, peers may experience ego death, the loss of distinction between self and other. During this phase, peers may be able to examine and discuss previous trauma and find acceptance of the past, and also a deep sense of acceptance of oneself and others. Tears are very common, and crying is a sign of the body releasing stress. It's a fact that human tears contain cortisol, a stress hormone. Allow space and support for whatever comes during this phase of the journey, as this has enormous healing potential. Also, make sure you've discussed acceptable boundaries regarding physical touch and comfort levels prior, as our peer may require additional support during this time. Be patient and maintain a clear mindset, as the duration of the peak may last anywhere between 1 to 3 hours or longer if additional mushrooms are ingested during the experience. Should our peer find themselves in a challenging headspace, there are several ways to assist them into a more open, peaceful state of mind. Moving into another room, offering food or drink, or even adjusting their posture can elicit positive thoughts. Isaiah will be discussing more techniques and details in Unit 7 with our harm reduction module. Number 4, the come down. Coming back from a place so far removed from their standard ways of thinking can be therapeutic for our peers. Having been stripped of that critical inner voice coming from the backs of their heads, the one that's endlessly analyzing and ascribing meaning to everything, our peers may notice how imaginary their concept of reality truly is. They'll begin to see how judgments and fears are artificial and entirely contrived, which can be enormously freeing. They may exhibit facial expressions of disbelief or confusion. They may seek verbal validation for what they've experienced. 5, the return. You may also observe more relaxed and open body language from our peers. These are all behaviors stemming from the new neural pathways formed during the journey. It's also very common for peers to feel tired or hungry. Their brains have just undergone a massive workout. It's important for our peers to not only remember key points of their journey, but how they're feeling about their journey. Encourage peers to sit and take in how they feel in their bodies during the return, because writing or forming language to accurately describe their experience may be challenging for the next few hours. Promoting more somatosensory recognition may be the most beneficial practice during this time. If our peers are able to write or form language, having a journal nearby or offering to transcribe what they say can document key points before they get lost in the process of returning. Being able to recall both imagery and sensation will help solidify the post journey integration. Encourage peers to be kind to themselves for the next few days. Get plenty of rest, eat nutritious food, stay low key, and avoid high stimulus activities. Gentle movement, yoga, stretching, and meditation are all great ways to balance and support the new mind body neural circuitry that was formed during the journey. Next up, you'll hear from Scott about the significance of integration, how to best support the integration process, and also why the preparation period before the journey is important. Thanks, everyone. And we're all so grateful you're here.